Are you ready to meditate with Cory? Lie down in your bed and get really comfortable. Make sure that everything is just right in your room. The light is just right. You're wearing comfortable pajamas, and that way you can relax your body and let go of your day as you listen to the story. VAYA couldn't sleep. It was cold. It was winter. HEIDI and Cherry were fast asleep on their bed, and VAYA's little paws were too cold. It kept waking her up. She went over to the dresser and grabbed her soft, fluffy shawl, laid back down next to her sisters, and wrapped herself up in her blanket. About 10 minutes later, VAYA was fast asleep. She found herself walking in the snow. Everything, everywhere she looked was white. Brilliant white snow. She looked down at her feet. She was wearing her white furry boots. Her paws were warm and toasty. She had a long white, fluffy, woolly coat. It had silver buttons, 3 on the front. She was wearing a white, furry hat, and her white, furry hat had holes so that her little cat ears could come through the top. That way she could hear everything she needed to hear. Right now, all she could hear, though, was nothing, just snow falling. And the snow falling all around her was very, very quiet. So she didn't hear anything unless she walked in the snow. And then she felt the crunch of the snow underneath her paws. Her coat dragged behind her, as if she was wearing a crown and a long shawl, just like a queen or a princess would wear. She was a princess, though. She felt like a princess. Everything about her felt like a princess. She knew that she'd been born into royalty somehow. And as she walked through the snow, she felt like this forest that she was walking in belonged to her. Maybe it was part of the kingdom. It felt like her forest. She felt like she knew it well. All the animals, the tiny little critters that lived in the forest, they were all her friends. There was one cat that she was going to see that was very, very special to her. His name was Mr. Oliver Pudding. Mr. Oliver Pudding was her prince. She loved him dearly. He worked in the village. He had his own store. He made things with wood. He was called a carpenter. Mr. Oliver Pudding was a very handsome cat. He wasn't a real prince, but to her he was a prince. She looked at him like a prince. He was a black cat. He was quite a big cat, very long and sleek. His fur was really shiny, and he looked as if he was a piece of the night sky. She would go and see him and sit in his store and watch him make things from wood. He made furniture, ornaments, you name it. He even made her a necklace. He'd carved deer antlers out of wood, and he'd attach them to a simple piece of string. When she wore it, the jewelry laid right there over her heart, and she felt a deep connection to her necklace. It was her most prized possession, something she loved dearly. She was on her way to see Mr. Oliver Pudding right now. The snow was falling quite heavily, and it felt like her long white coat was weighing her down and dragging in the snow. When would she be there? She even at one point said out loud, "Oh my, methinks it's going to take me forever to get to see Mr. Oliver Pudding. My dearest Oliver, I'm coming, my dear. I'm coming." Only the snow heard VAYA talking. It seemed like all of the critters and animals that lived in the forest that she was walking through had taken themselves off into hibernation, sleeping somewhere nice and warm for the winter. VAYA started to speak out loud, as if she was keeping herself company on her way to see her beloved prince. "I think all of you animals must have got the right idea to go to sleep when it's so cold like this. Methinks I would like to be in bed sleeping right now. But I need to see Oliver. It's been so long." A bird started tweeting in the background. "Yes, I know. I'm sure he misses me too," she said. The bird tweeted again, and then a red robin flew down to a branch on a tree in front of her and made himself known. He tweeted away, tweet, 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 tweet. VAYA stopped. "Yes, methinks exactly the same, Mr. Bird. I just can't wait to see him." The bird tweeted again as if he was answering VAYA. VAYA said, "Yes, well, he just works in the wood store. He's so clever, and methinks he's very, very smart. He's very kind. It's important to be kind, you know." The bird tweeted, and VAYA said, "You are kind? Oh, that's nice. maybe you could come and keep me company. Come and land on my shoulder and we'll talk all the way there. It's quite a ways, you know, and already I feel very tired. It's so cold out here right now with the snow, so I need my hat and my coat, but everything feels as if it weighs me down. The bird flew over and landed on VAYA's shoulder, and they talked some more for a while. Then VAYA saw something run very fast up a tree, and then it stopped and made a chattering noise, stared right at her. A fluffy brown squirrel. VAYA said, Hi, squirrel. Would you like to come for a walk? I'm on my way to the village to see Mr. Oliver Pudding. Mr. Oliver Pudding is my prince, and I love him so much. The squirrel seemed intrigued, ran down the tree, across the ground. He ran up VAYA's coat and landed on her opposite shoulder. He said. VAYA said, Yes, me thinks the same. He is the most handsome cat in the entire world. I think he's a prince in disguise. He pretends he's just a carpenter in the village making simple wood furniture for people's homes and such, but I think he's definitely a real prince. And one day we'll be married and we'll become king and queen. I will be a snow queen. Right now I'm just a snow princess. I can only become a queen when I'm married, the squirrel said. The bird said, Tweet, 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 tweet. VAYA said, You guys, you're so funny. Me thinks that I've always wanted to be a queen. Always wanted to be married. Some people want to be like a doctor, or maybe some people, like my sister Cherry, she thinks she's going to be president one day. Me, on the other hand, just wants to be married. I just want to fall in love with my prince, and then one day be married, and then one day live in a palace, and then one day have lots and lots of kittens, lots and lots of little princes and princesses running all over the palace. That would make me very happy. The squirrel said, VAYA said, My, you have? That many children? Oh, that's a lot. The bird said, Tweet, 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 tweet. You do? Said VAYA. 4 children already? Wow. Cherry started coughing in the bed next to VAYA. It made VAYA wake up a little bit. She stirred and rolled over and then pulled her warm fuzzy shawl up to her neck and quickly fell back into a deep dream state. The walk was so much more fun now that she had some friends. VAYA spotted something jumping up ahead. But it was like a big ball of snow moving up in front of her. When she got closer to the ball of snow, it turned around and looked at her, 2 big black eyes and a pink little nose. The cutest white bunny rabbit. It made bunny rabbit noises. VAYA said, "Oh, hi. Yes, yes, we're on our way to the village." The bunny said. VAYA said, "Yes, of course. Methinks that you would make very good company, Mr. Bunny Rabbit. We are on our way to see my prince." The rabbit perked its ears up and said, VAYA said, "Yes, he's my prince. He's called Mr. Oliver Pudding, and he is the most dreamiest cat in the entire world." The bunny rabbit said. The bird said, "Tweet, tweet, 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 tweet," and flew away. VAYA said, "Oh my, okay, bye." The bunny rabbit hopped onto VAYA's now free shoulder, looked at the squirrel and said hi to the squirrel, and the squirrel said hi back to the bunny rabbit, and then VAYA carried on walking forward, trudging through the thick, white, fluffy snow. She eventually made it to a path. Less snow on the path. It looked like this must be where a lot of people and animals walk to get to the village. Some of the snow was slushy and dirty looking. She was concerned about getting the snow on her coat, so she lifted the bottom of her coat up as she walked on the path to the village. "Not far now. Methinks probably only about 5 minutes, guys." She walked through lots of buildings, quaint little cottages, some taller, bigger houses, until she got to a street that had cobblestones on the ground. The street had a baker's. It also had a fruit and vegetable store. And then further down the road was the furniture store where Mr. Oliver Pudding, the love of her life, worked. When Princess VAYA opened the front door, a quaint bell at the top of the door rang, and Mr. Oliver looked up. Their eyes met across the room, and he had the biggest smile on his face. When she walked in, she undid the 3 buttons on her coat and laid it over a chair by the front door. She took off her furry white hat and put it on top of the coat. She banged her boots together so all the snow didn't come into the store. And she stood there in her white princess dress. She had a small lace handbag that went over her shoulder with a long strap that fell on her waist. She opened up a bag and took out her tiara. She put on her princess tiara, and it glistened in the lights from the store over her head. Mr. Oliver Pudding was just staring. He didn't say anything yet. He watched everything that she was doing. And then, in the most graceful way possible, she glided across the store and went to face her prince. She looked him deep in the eyes, smiled. Her cheeks blushed from all of the walking, but now they blushed even more. She looked down all bashful, and then she looked up and blinked, slow, in a very cute way. Her eyelashes were all long and fluffy, and her blue sparkly eyes stared deep into his soul. "Oh, Oliver," she thought to herself. VAYA said, "I was wondering if my chair that you were making for me is complete yet. Me would love my chair." Mr. Oliver Pudding said, "Oh yes, yes. It's very, very near complete. Let me just go get it from the back for you." He bowed a little and excused himself, and then went through a door into the back where there was a warehouse where he kept all of his projects. After a few minutes, he brought out this most beautiful looking carved chair. It looked like a princess throne. "Almost complete," he said as he placed it down in front of her. "Just a few little minor changes." "Do you like it?" he said. VAYA looked at it and said, "Oh, Mr. Pudding, it's perfect." This made Oliver very happy. "Oh, I'm so glad you like it," he said. "I've been working on it for weeks now." VAYA said, "Yes, I know, and I very much appreciate it. My parents will be, of course, indebted to you, and they will give you whatever it is that you need for the price of the chair. You know already that I'm a princess, so it's very important that I have this perfect throne to sit on." Mr. Oliver Pudding said, "Yes, yes, indeed." Mr. Oliver Pudding didn't realize that VAYA, the princess, was deeply in love with him. He had no clue. He just knew that she was the most perfect cat in the entire world, and he would do anything for her. Everything about her was perfect. Her little pink nose, her beautiful, beautiful ocean blue eyes, her white furry fur, her fluffy, fluffy, fluffy fur. He adored everything about her. The little pink pads on her feet, her tiny little cat nails, the way that she walked, the way she dressed. Everything was just perfect. He didn't know that Princess VAYA felt exactly the same about him. Cherry coughed really loud. This time it woke her up. She laid there, staring at the ceiling, watching the fan in their bedroom going round and round and round. "Who on earth is Mr. Oliver Pudding?" she said to herself. VAYA wondered why she wasn't dreaming about Mr. Kitty. He'd been gone for quite some time now, and even though they talked, it didn't feel the same. But she'd never met a cat called Mr. Oliver Pudding. Maybe Mr. Oliver Pudding only existed in her dreams. VAYA laid there for a while, wide awake, thinking about the most perfect cat that she'd ever met before. And then eventually Cherry woke up and HEIDI woke up. They went and brushed their teeth and went downstairs for breakfast. And life felt pretty normal once again. But VAYA couldn't wait to go back to sleep. The place where she was a snow princess, with the most perfect prince in the entire world. The end.